It is fascinating how we know exactly what to do, and yet sometimes we do the reverse. We let our negative self-talk rule our life and get stuck in our own limiting beliefs. Nathalie P. is the expert with a proven system to reprogram your brain and get you transformational results. Nathalie P., the founder and CEO of Think Yourself Academy, offering leading-edge courses, online training, and events. She is a co-founder of TYA Education, transforming children's inner language to build self-esteem and perseverance. She combines over 10 years of experience in human resources, 25 years of experience in sales, and over 30 years of experience in the fitness industry. In 2007, she was Fitness Instructor of the Year for Canada. She is a dynamic, engaging, and professional speaker, offering conferences, trainings, and keynotes which get you hooked with relatable stories and analogies.
Who wants to use the ring to make money?
Along the past 30 years, she has inspired over 100,000 audience members and empowered thousands of clients internationally. She is on the board of directors of CAPS, the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. Nathalie P. is a master of neuroscience. She uses specific brain reprogramming processes in her practice as a master life coach and executive coach. She has helped thousands of people in Canada, Europe, the United States, and third world countries to get rid of their negative self-talk and to live to their full potential. She is a #1 international bestselling author of 11 books on wellness and empowerment, including 8 international #1 bestsellers. She is also CEO of Think Yourself Publishing, helping entrepreneurs position themselves as experts with a published book. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Somehow, Nathalie can.
Have seen and heard joining us, Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas joining us. Nathalie, can you still hear me in the green room there, my friend? Wonderful. Well, folks, you're in for a treat. Please feel free to engage with us via the comment section of the Facebook Live video here that you're watching, and just interact with us and have a conversation with Nathalie and myself. Now, with that video introduction, I think I'm going to bring Nathalie on the screen right away here and have us ourselves a conversation right away here. So, Nathalie, I'm going to say welcome to our conversation and hope you are well today, my friend.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. It's such an honor. Conversations with Dune has been going on for a while. How many guests did you have this year so far?
We have 147. So you're 148. I've been practiced up for you. I wanted to make sure I was fully practiced before I invited you. And so here we are. And you're winding down your year. And I know you have had a busy year with really just dealing with all the transition of COVID and all of that. And thank you for taking the time to join me today, Nathalie.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
Wonderful. Now tell us a little bit. I mean, the video was wonderful, and by the way, great video, great demo reel. And I want to ask you, tell us a little bit more about your background before we get into talking about all the other topics as well. So,
yes. So neuroscience started for me a long time ago, maybe 12 years ago. I wanted to become a professional speaker. I wanted to write books, but I was hearing this voice in my head telling me, you're not a real professional speaker. Like, you don't deserve to be paid to speak like in English. You don't even speak English. Like, it's true, my English was really bad. Gosh, I remember I was teaching fitness and I was teaching a yoga class. And at the end of a yoga class, when everybody's laying down and relaxing during the relaxation, I was telling them to relax their body, relax their face, relaxing their jaw. And I wanted them to put their their tongue on the roof of their mouth. And I said, everybody relax, put your thumb behind your tits. Yeah, beautiful. So my English was really bad. So that voice in my head telling me, you can't write books in English. You don't even speak English. It was kind of right a little bit. And yet I realized that it was all about my own confidence. It was all about what was holding me back was not the fact that I didn't speak English very well. It was my own inner self-talk. And I remember one day sitting in my office feeling so nasty, feeling like a loser. And I didn't really think that I could do it. And I thought, I think my very first step, if I ever want to be successful at anything, is I need to shut down this voice inside my head. And that's when I decided to start studying neuroscience and studying the brain and studying how is that possible that my own voice doesn't support me? Why is this happening? So I spent the last decade studying neuroscience, researching ways to reprogram the brain. And I've created a system using the 6 layers of the brain, the 6 layers of a person's self, in order to change this negative self-talk in our head. And that's the system that I have shared in my 8 international #1 best-selling books. And that's what I share in my online courses, in my on stage when I do speaking engagement, and what I do with my one-on-one coaching clients.
Fantastic. Thank you for that backgrounder as well. Now we have, folks, a lot of photos to share, a lot of stories to share, a lot of insights and wisdom to share, right from the field of the intersection between practical experience as well as lots of studies done by Nathalie here. So tell me, my friend, you've done a lot of different things. Do you sometimes pinch yourself and say, what kind of life you're living these days with all of these different things, all these balls in the air, very exciting? I'm sure it must be exhausting as well.
I have to say that about 4 years ago, I decided that that my life needed to change, because 12 years ago, I started studying neuroscience, and then sooner than later, it started to work. It started to be successful. I had my first international #1 bestseller. I was hosting events, and then wrote another book, and another book had another topic, and eventually I became very successful, and I had a full team of trainers working for me. We would host events across Canada, in Ontario, in Vancouver, in Montreal, a little bit everywhere. And we were busy. We were putting bums in the seats and making sure that people would attend our events. We had tons of different topics. The Think Yourself Academy. So I would go, 1 week would be the Think Yourself Thin program, the Think Yourself Successful program, Think Yourself a Relationship Pro, Think Yourself a Leader. So it's all the same base of reprogramming our inner self-talk. And as we were moving from event to event, at the end of the event, I was getting very busy because people wanted to work one-on-one with me. So then I had to fit another 20 clients in my schedule, and I was successful and I was making money. And at the end of the day, I would sit down and say, wow, is that it? My dream of becoming an entrepreneur, woo, beautiful. I'm rich, and I have no life. I have 0 life balance. I never spend time with the kids or my husband. I'm exhausted all the time. How are people doing this? I could see some of my friends going for 2 months in Florida or in California during the winter, and I couldn't even take a day off. So I thought, my business model needs to change. And that's a picture that you see right now of me presenting online. So I started this journey of online presentation about 4 years ago, because I thought, this is not sustainable. This is not working. And that's when I started to move my business to online, do a lot more online presentation, pre-recorded online course, so that when I would do a speaking engagement and everybody wanted to do my course after, I wouldn't pack up my schedule. They would go purchase my pre-recorded product, and I would have a way to share my message without me being there. So the concept of making money while you sleep and leveraging your business. So that really, really transformed my life. Actually, when COVID hit, I was in California because we're now spending 2 months in California. In Palm Desert during the winter, and I was sitting by the pool looking at my phone and receiving orders for online courses because I have it worked. It is a process. It is something that I wish. Sometimes I wonder if I had waited and done it this year like everybody else. There's so many resources now. There's so many people helping us. But 4 years ago, it was all unknown. I didn't know anything about having lamps or a microphone or how to record an online course. And I sometimes I wish that I had waited a little bit and benefited from everything that is available right now and all the new functionalities just on Zoom and Be Live and StreamYard. And there's so many great platforms now that we can use. And I guess I'm blessed at the same time and feeling grateful and thankful that I had started 4 years ago. So when the pandemic hit, I did not had to scramble. I didn't have to scramble and try to do something about it. I was already set up, and therefore my business did shift during the pandemic because while everybody was thinking, how do I make money? I was thinking, it's not about what can I sell, it's about how can I serve? Because I've been blessed to have spent the last 3 years doing this. I have kind of 3 years of advantage on everybody else. I can help. And that's when I created more courses on how to move your business online. So the Think Yourself a Tech Pro series, 3 different courses on technology, how to transform social media fans into paying clients. So the Think Yourself a Business Pro course. So I have been able to help a lot of people, and I've been doing a lot of business mentorship in this past year to help people do what I've been able to do, because even though confidence is my number one concept, and it's my niche, that's what I talk on. I talk on confidence. This year I have done a lot of business mentorship because people are like, I don't want you to teach me how to be confident. I want you to teach me how to make money because I need to make money right now. So that's what I've been doing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that, and congratulations on being one of the early movers. As you mentioned, when you go early in any particular field, you don't have the roads are not well paved. You're going to have to make your own path, and I think there's a lot of good lessons from that. And kudos to you, my friend, for
I
being
don't know
one of the
about
early
that
ones.
because you know how they say early bird gets the worm. Well, in that case, it's more like early worm gets eaten. So I've made all the mistake. I've spent so much money that I didn't have, and I've made all the mistakes you couldn't. So I don't know. I feel like, yes, I'm blessed that I've been there before, but I really think that it took me 4 years to do something that you could do in 2 months. But I just had to figure it out, and you guys are lucky because you don't have to figure it out. Because I figured it out, and I'll tell you how.
Yeah, well, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, the online space was growing slowly and surely. We were heading there, and of course, the pandemic has just accelerated everything related to online. So, and you found yourself now in a place of really, finally, it sort of caught up to you, and tools and technology and other people and all those kinds of things. So again, congratulations on that, and good on you.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about your early career. You were deep, and still are, but deep into fitness. Tell us the story about how and when and why you got into fitness, and why you believe that was going to be one of your key careers. Do you remember that first time when
Oh
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I started teaching fitness at a very young age. So to this day, I think we're at year 34, starting in 2020, of teaching fitness. I remember from a very
You
small
don't look a
town.
day over 34, my friend.
Ah, thank you. I'll send you a check. And
Now,
you don't have to touch up my appearance here. So I actually had to wear a lot of makeup. So I'm from a small town. There was nobody else to teach. So the teacher had too many students and she needed somebody else to take over the younger students. So she recruited me. I had no idea what I was doing. And I evolved into dance as well, teaching jazz, ballet jazz, hip hop. We did tours in Europe. At a point I had a troupe of 325 dancers that I would select the best of the best, and then we would tour. And it was a lot of work. It was shows at the end of the year with costumes and choreographies and performing in the performing art, right? Until I was doing my second baccalaureate at the same time. And I was part owner in a printing business. So it was requiring a lot of my time. So I didn't have that much time to be doing the performance and the shows. So that's when I went into strictly fitness, because when you teach a fitness class, you don't need to elaborate a costume and a choreography and a show and get the tech crew to create an event. And I didn't have to tour Europe and do all that extra curriculum stuff. So that's when I moved from dance into fitness, because teaching fitness classes, I would just show up, teach my class, and go home. I didn't have to do all the rest, and got more involved in teaching fitness classes. Then I realized that I could help my clients better if I was working one-on-one with them. So I became a personal trainer. And I was training people one-on-one. And then one day I realized that the clients that were really successful, it's not because I was showing them a better way to squat or giving them a better kale salad recipe, because eventually I did a training and I was a nutrition and wellness specialist. My first book is on nutrition, actually. And then I realized it's not because I give them a better kale salad recipe or because I show them a better way to squat. The reason why clients are successful is because they're starting to think differently. It's because they're changing their mindset. And I was blessed with amazing parents. And I think we have pictures of my family here. My parents were outstanding. Like sometimes I say my parents were freaks, so, because they were so positive, and then there were signs at home: "You can do this. You're amazing. You are so great." And um, every Sundays, we didn't have to go to church somehow, but we had to sit down in the living room and listen to motivational tapes. So as a child, my brother and I, every Sunday, listened to Zig Ziglar and Og Mandino and Jean-Marc Chaput, and we had to learn and script all their cassette tapes, and we're rolling our eyes, and we didn't know that it had a huge impact on our brains. And when I realized with my clients in personal training that was the case, I thought, this is cool. I thought you needed to have had my parents in order to think that way. And everybody else, well, too bad you didn't have my parents. And then I realized, wait a minute, I still get these limiting beliefs and these negative self-talk sometimes. How do I do it? How am I able to switch? How am I able to talk myself into something else? And that's when I started to research neuroscience. That's when I wanted to become a motivational speaker, and I wanted to write books in English. So it's kind of all happening at the same time. And that's when I left the fitness industry, wanting to do more mindset, because I thought, if I can teach people how to fish, why would they need me? Why would I continue to see them every week and hold them accountable? So to this day, I still teach fitness classes, but I no longer do personal training. I teach fitness classes because I want to stay fit, because I like it. I teach 5 classes a week because I love it, and it's fun, and it's my way of staying in shape, and it's a great platform in order for people to start being more confident, because we know that when we exercise, we get shots of of endorphins, and it helps our here they are. Here are my parents. They're absolutely amazing. So that's the whole story about the how it came about with the fitness, and how I decided to go more into neuroscience and really specialize in the brain, in self-sabotage, in negative self-talk, and how to transform that to become really confident.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, one of our viewers, Audrey, I don't know if you know Audrey. Audrey said, Audrey is a friend of mine here as well, and she said, "You are such an inspiration." Wow. Now, she also really enjoyed, I don't know if you saw that when I put it up earlier, I really enjoyed your introduction as well. She says, "Wow, what an intro," she said.
Thank you so much, Audrey. It's so great to have you with us. If there's any questions, just feel free to post them, and I'll be happy to answer.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Nathalie. And the next thing I wanted to maybe ask you a little bit about is, so that's the sort of how the fitness started. When did you decided that you would be a professional speaker? Do you remember the story of what happened, the circumstances around it that led you to that conclusion, my friend?
Absolutely. So I think it was the creation of the system is when I realized, because I started to study seriously because I wanted to do some research. I needed to figure out, how do people do change? How do people turn off that negative self-talk, and how does that work? So I like to give the analogy of a kitchen renovation. So how does the brain work really is how to transform our negative self-talk is to use, let's say you do a kitchen renovation, and I think I've provided you a few images that you can show. If you're doing a renovation, sometimes you go through the ceiling and it's not so great. Sometimes there are things that happen through your renovation. So it's best to have a plan, because if you go through the ceiling and you were not planning on doing a renovation, all of a sudden you're forced into it. So it's best if you plan your renovation. So the DNA system has 3 different steps. The first step is to plan for it. So the D is for desire. So what do you want? So you would to make a folder and say, I want to renovate my kitchen. In that folder, you will put a whole bunch of samples. So you'll put samples of the cupboards that you want, samples of the countertop, samples of the backsplash, samples of the hardwood floor. And I think I've given you a picture of the samples that you could show. So when you accumulate all these samples into your folder, you're making a list of what you want. So a lot of people do this, and I'm sure that you've made a list before of your goals, or you've creating a vision board, right? Because a lot of people hear of vision boards, and I was reading books on this and trying to figure out, okay, so everybody was telling me to do a vision board and then to make a list of what I wanted, to set my goals, and then to do SMART goal, because they need to be smart and measurable, and they need, well, you know, the whole technique. So I thought, this is great, but what's next? Because a lot of people teach you all of that, and then what? Like if vision boards really worked and we could just stop at the vision board, we would all be living on a deserted island sipping martinis, right? And driving Mercedes Benz. But vision boards are not the end of it. Like a folder with a whole bunch of samples is not a kitchen. You cannot cook in a folder. You can't entertain people in a folder. It's not a kitchen, it's a folder with samples. So it's not the reality, it's just what you want. It's very important to do it. You must do that first step, the D, but you still need to continue after. And what I was finding out is that the more books I would read, the more I would realize that people from there were teaching you how to install everything in your kitchen. So they were teaching you how to take the cupboards and put them over top of the existing cupboards, and take the island and put it over top of the existing island in the kitchen. But it's not going to work. Because that's the third step. The third step is to start installing these things in your kitchen. And everybody's teaching you how to implement new habits and how to create new habits and how to, and and I realized that people were forgetting about step number two. People were forgetting to gut out the old kitchen, because that's what you need to do next. You need to gut out the old kitchen and remove all the negative self-talk, remove the bad habits, remove the limiting belief, anger, fear, hurt, sadness, guilt, trauma. And I think I've given you an image for this also, Dune, to gut out the old kitchen. So we need to get rid of all that. And that is step two. And that's where my business took off, because that's what I do. So while a lot of people would, of course, the DNA system is complete. It includes the three steps. So first, you need to know what you want, the desire. N is for new you. You need to gut out everything that you don't need anymore and get rid of those bad habits and these limiting beliefs. And then A is the third step. It's for actualize, how to implement now new habits and to put in your kitchen everything that you want. So that second step, I realized that not a lot of people were doing that, and that most people were skipping that step. And it's the most important one. You'll never get a new kitchen if you don't get rid of the old stuff before. So that's where my business really took off, is when I really niched into getting rid of that negative self-talk, the bad habits, anger, fear, hurt, sadness, guilt, trauma, all the bad stuff that is holding you back. Because most of the time, it's not our fault. We are holding these past experiences, carrying them with us all the time. Because the notion of the whole Think Yourself Academy, that the number one key in the Think Yourself Academy is you are awesome and you have everything you need. Like, everybody has a drawer full of answers, full of everything that they need, all the solutions, all the creative ideas. We know exactly what to do. We don't need anything else. But the problem is, we go through life and experiences get accumulated on top of the solutions in the drawer. And there's a whole bunch of crap in that drawer that we need to get rid of. So that's when the personal assistant came in. So in order to get that new kitchen, we need to work with our unconscious mind. So that's kind of my poster child. So the personal assistant is that unconscious mind that's listening all the time to everything that we say or think. So when we are getting up in the morning, the problem is most people get up, they look at themselves in the mirror and they go, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so stressed out. I think I'm gaining weight. So then their personal assistant writes it down. Tired, stressed out, gaining weight. Right? So your personal assistant goes through the orders and it says, okay, tired, what can I do for this? Oh, I know. I'm going to keep her awake all night. She's not going to be able to sleep. She's going to be really tired in the morning. Check. Stressed out. What can I do for this? Oh, I know. I'm going to make her forget something at home. That's going to be really stressful. She's going to have to turn around in traffic. Check. Gaining weight. Oh, that's an easy one. I can certainly find, a chocolate bar or something deep fried for her to eat today. Check. So your personal assistant is constantly listening. And we need to give your personal assistant the correct orders, because what we think all the time is giving orders to our personal assistant. And we have between 50 and 80,000 thoughts per day. It's huge, the amount of thinking that we do. And research show that 70% of these thoughts are negative. 70% of these 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day are negative. That's about 1,900 negative thoughts per hour. That's 31 negative thoughts per second. It's ridiculous, the amount of negative thoughts we have. So we need to consciously rephrase that and change our negative self-talk. And that's what I do. That's what I teach people.
Now, Audrey chimed in again with a question for you, Nathalie. Audrey asked, I have found that I can gut those bad habits and beliefs for a while, but then they slip back into old habits. Any suggestions, she asked?
Yes, absolutely. This is perfectly normal, because a neural pathway is created in our brain as the little neurons that are like little fingers moving like that, right? And when you make a connection and you do something for the first time, it touches and it creates a connection. And then you continue going into your life, and then there's another connection that happens, and another connection. And eventually, if it connects often enough, it will create a full synapse, which means a connection that is solid, that your brain won't have to find the connection to it in order to make it happen. And very often these bad habits happen at an unconscious level, and there are full-on synapses that are solid. So let's say that you live in a cornfield, and I think we had a slide for this where it says how does the brain work, and then there was a cornfield, I think around 2A. You can see the analogy that when let's say you live in a cornfield, you have your house, you open the door, and then you walk out on a path on a cornfield. I don't know if you've ever walked in a cornfield. I have, because I'm a small town girl. My dad had 17 brothers and sisters. Well, 23 initially, and now there's 17 left. So that's a lot of cousins. And I was the youngest, and they didn't want to play with me because they were mostly boys, and they wanted to get rid of me most of the time because I was the youngest girl. But I was fast. And what we would do is we would run in the cornfield. And what happens is if you're first to run, the corn will go down and bounce right back into your cousin's face. This is really funny. So that's cool. So I was fast and I was the first one. And then the corn would bounce back into my cousin's face. That was really cool. And then the second and the third cousin that would walk, then the corn would not bounce as fast. You really need to be first in order for this to happen. Because the third person that would walk on the corn would break. And then the fourth person, the corn would flatten. And eventually there would be a huge fat path because there's 20 of us, right? So by the 20th cousin, it's a highway, right? And nothing is bouncing back. So that's what's happening in our brain, is that we have these paths that too often are leading to self-sabotage. But one day you'll say, okay, so Audrey, you get up and you're like, you know what? I can gut out these bad habits and belief for a while. So you're going to start a brand new path and you're going to start walking on fresh corn. Well, guess what? It might bounce back. It might bounce back for a while. So maybe our mind is like, why am I doing this? Why am I going this way? There's a beautiful path right there. Why don't I just go there? And sometimes it will go back to where that synapse had happened. So what we need to do is, as the corn bounces back, we need to recognize that, oh, it's normal. So I need to walk on it again so that it cracks. And I need to walk on it again so that it flattens out. And I need to walk on it again. And as you continue to walk on it, it will flatten out. The old corn, if you are not walking on it anymore, that old path, because in the brain, the path don't disappear. It's just that if you don't use it very often anymore, your brain won't have the reflex of going back there. It is possible that one day you get up and you're like, oh no, I just had a relapse. Well, it is what it is. Just remember to walk on the new corn whenever you need to. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely. So again, Audrey, thank you for interacting with us, and thank you for your questions. And Nathalie, thank you for a comprehensive answer there. We also have a comment from Michelle. My friend Michelle chimed in, and she said a little while ago, when you had that analogy with the kitchen and with the renovation and gutting it out and all that, she loved that analogy there, and also the personal assistant as well, I'm sure.
I have been named the queen of metaphors many times by a lot of people.
I love metaphors. I think if you can't explain something by using something else that is quite different seemingly and yet quite similar, then you haven't really spent enough time understanding it. So analogies to me are wonderful, and kudos to you, my friend, for doing it and loving it and so good at it as well. So Audrey chimed in again. She said, yes, awesome, thank you. So thank you, Audrey. So Nathalie, I wanted to perhaps show the rest of these photos here while you tell us the remainder of that story there. I'm going to just feature it again here, my friend. Now we visited some of these and we talked about some of these already, but tell us about. So you wrote a few books, hey?
I did. I've written, I think, 16 books now to this date, because my first language is French. So some of them I have rewritten in French because it's not true that we can just translate it. We have to rewrite mostly the whole thing. So I do have tons of different topics. And what I would do is I would go with some of them I've written by myself, and some of them I partner up. I did joint ventures with people that are an expert in their own domain. So, for example, when I created the Think Yourself Thin book, which was my very first #1 bestseller, a lot of people were reading Think Yourself Thin and saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't need to lose weight, and yet I'm going to use this for everything in my life." So I thought, so that system, because I came from the fitness industry, that was the first one that I used the Think Yourself model for, was to lose weight and then to be fit. So I realized that there was something there, and I probably had a book series, because the system I had created was not connected with fitness or on how to lose weight. It was just connected with the brain. So we could apply this in many different areas. So Think Yourself Then was the my first #1 bestseller that I created. But then came Think Yourself Successful. I partnered up with Mo Hagan and Tasha Hughes, which are two very successful entrepreneurs. And then together, we put together success strategies with the mindset Think Yourself DNA system together. And then wrote Think Yourself a Relationship Pro, based on behavioral styles. So the stylist, LIST, the stylist, which is the 4 different profiles, so whether you're a leader, an influencer, a thinker, or a supporter. So again, brought my Think Yourself DNA system into how do you change your style, because a lot of material exists right now on different personality style, but they explain to you why it's normal that you're always late because you're an influencer. It's normal that you might be perceived as arrogant because you're a leader. But in the Think Yourself a Relationship Pro, I partner up with Mo Hagan, which is a behavioral specialist. And we are able not only to explain to people why their personality is a certain way, we're also able to teach people how to change. What if it doesn't serve you? What if you're about to lose your job because you're always late? How do you change that? How do you change who you are? And instead of hoping, oh, I wish I was like that. Well, we don't have to wish that we are something. We can just be whatever we want. And that's what we're teaching in Think Yourself a Relationship Pro. And then you have, I think you showed us the Think Yourself Healthy, 27 vibrant application to a vibrant life, simple tips. Think Yourself Clean also, that I've written with Tuscarino. And then from there, I started to switch directly to the online course. Oh, I Think Yourself Grateful as well, that I've written when I came back from Haiti on my first trip, because I realized that gratefulness was missing in my life and in a lot of people's life, and the magic powers of gratitude. So it's a gratitude journal that people can use. And from books, I started to create online programs, because I realized that I could have a lot more impact with a full 8 hours or 3 hours online course. So that's when I created Think Yourself Confident, the course, the Think Yourself a Tech Pro series, where you have 3 different courses. The basic, if you have never recorded a video, how to use a camera, lights, and how to embed a video on a website. Think Yourself a Tech Pro Part 1 is about how to use 10 different apps to leverage your business, and how I was able to automate my business with all these apps and technology. And then there's the Think Yourself a Tech Pro, build your own website, because a lot of times entrepreneurs are hating their website, or they don't have a website yet, and they don't have $4,000 for somebody to build it for them. So I partner up again with my web engineer, and we created the Think Yourself a Tech Pro, build your website. Then there's Think Yourself a Business Pro, the 10 steps to a successful business. Think Yourself a Relationship Pro is also a course. Think Yourself Successful. Think Yourself Wealthy, partner up with a financial planner, and we created Think Yourself Wealthy course together. Think Yourself Thin, and Think Yourself a coaching certification if you want to do what I do and become a coach. And Think Yourself a Virtual Fitness Pro for the fitness industry. And the last two are the kids program. Yeah,
Fantastic.
so these are all the different courses that eventually came through after I've built the DNA system.
So it's great to hear that you have a vision that requires more than yourself to actually implement. You have a vision that requires you to, as you mentioned, collaborate with others and partner up with others and whatnot. So that's so refreshing, because a lot of people really have a vision just enough for themselves, and they feel like they really can't give up some of that control. Sounds like you have figured out how to work with others on major projects as well that are in alignment with your vision.
Because at the end of the day, I need to stick with what I'm good at. And what I've studied is neuroscience. And what I'm good at is the brain. And what I'm good at is how to teach people to get rid of their negative self-talk. And it happens that we use the same brain in all areas of our life. So that's when I went to partner up. Same for the kids program. So partner up with a teacher, 33 years of experience teaching children. Because one day, one client left my office in her 50s, and she said, "Oh my gosh," she felt so amazing. She said, "I wish I had met you when I was 10. And I thought, oh, you're onto something here. This is true. I need to teach this to children. And that's when I started the collaboration with a 33 years of experience teacher, and we created the Adventures of Captain Vic. That's the children's program. I do believe in partnering up with people, because we need to stay in our lane and be do what we're good at and what we're passionate about. I love that stuff. So I don't want to stop at one course or one book, because the brain is being used all the time. It's not like swimming, that if you're not at a pool or you're not at the ocean and you're not able to swim, then it's over. Like, the brain is always there. We use it all the time. So,
yeah. Now, Michelle also chimed in a little while back, and I displayed it. Don't know if you caught that. She said, that's a great title, Queen of Metaphors. She's suggesting that that might work very well for you. And Michelle also said, based on what you've just shared there, again, we can't really do it all alone. Very smart. So compliment to you, Nathalie, for being able to collaborate with others. And we have Segue Greg, so much awesome, informational, enjoying the talk here on Prince Edward Island. So wonderful.
I think that Greg is the king of PEI.
Yeah, wonderful.
Greg is an amazing entrepreneur. You should get in touch with Greg if you're interested in actually, he teaches amazing yoga classes online.
Yeah.
He teaches well-being, and he's just an all-round amazing guy to be around. So thanks for being here with us, Greg.
Great. Yeah. Now we're going to make a little bit of a turn here. And in order to do that, I think it would be great to just maybe show this here. So give me a second to bring that up here. Let me know if you can see this here. And we're going to just have a bit of fun here. Actually, let me do it this other way here.
This is so cool, Dune, how you're doing it all live. So for the record, we are live right now. This is like, there's no 17 people in a studio doing everything that Dune is doing live for us right now. It's so fascinating how you're so great.
Yeah. There we go. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna turn. We're going to.
We're doing a pivot. I love it.
Well, somebody has to drink. I'm gonna drink some orange juice here, but pivot is the word that I guess made its way through the 2020 lexicon here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to do a pivot in 2020. Definitely, most of us entrepreneurs, things have changed for everyone, whether we like it or not. It will be changed forever as well. Definitely.
I want to show also a quick video that basically touch on the tech pro bit. Okay, so this is I'm going to bring it in here. Tell us a little bit about this video where you talked. There's the coffee's involved. So folks, if you're drinking coffee out there, this is a great time to sip a cup of coffee. And I'm just going to bring it in here. And so Nathalie, why don't you tell us about this clip here, my friend?
So the Think Yourself Academy tips of the day were created during the pandemic when people started to really need a lot of tech tips, a lot of business tips. And I was doing a newsletter every week, which I'm still doing. And then I realized, why don't I create small little tips that people can do? And I even have some of my business friends that emailed me to say, Nathalie, you're giving away your intellectual property. What's going on? You shouldn't give this stuff away. And I thought, you know what? I'm in serving mode right now. I'm not in selling mode. I have lots of information that I can share, and there's lots of things that people can use right away in their business. So I started to create these 1 minute, 60-second or 55-second tech tips, business tips, confidence tip, a whole bunch. And you can go to thinkyourself.com/tips to see there's so many tips that I've been sharing in the past year. And instead of, because I was in serving mode and I was giving away all these tips, somehow my bank account has been rewarded. So it's interesting how I've never been that busy. I have so much business right now, even though I have chosen to give away all my tips, people would still come to me and want more and hire me for business mentorship and purchase my online courses because I was giving all these tips. So maybe if you're an entrepreneur out there and then you feel like people have to pay for everything and you shouldn't give anything for free, that didn't stop me from being successful in my business. And yes, please give away things. And I think Dune is going to show us a few of the tips that I've created this year. So this is the Think Yourself Academy tips. So you can see right now at the top, there's holiday tips. So they're all in order. This is on my website. So thinkyourself.com/tips. And at the top, there's different categories. So you can have finance tips, tech tips, business tip, confidence tip. These are the holiday tips because right now I started 11 days ago spelling the word Merry Christmas, and now we are RRY, so there's still the M and the E missing, and then the whole Christmas. So I've been doing the 14 days of Christmas with it's a holiday survival guide, let's say, for to go through the holidays. So the first few tips are spelling the word Merry Christmas, and then if you keep scrolling, you'll see so that's the CHRISTMAS, and then you get into confidence tips, and then there's business tips, and then there's tech tips, and then there's finance and wealth tips. And so anyway, so
You're
you're
the queen of tips as well, apparently.
There's what?
You're the queen of tips as well.
The queen of tips.
Now I'm gonna roll one of these videos here. So give me a second to go ahead and bring it in. Tell us about this coffee video here, my friend. I'm going to.
So this because Zoom had a new function which doesn't work for everyone yet, depending on the processor of your computer, depending if you have the newest version of Zoom or not. But it's a new functionality on Zoom that allows you to place your slide in the background while you are able to present in the forefront, and you can position yourself wherever you want on the slide. So that's what I was demonstrating in that tip with the coffee mug.
All right. Well, let's enjoy this together here, friends. You're in for a treat.
Did you know that there's lots of cool stuff you can do when you're using your slides as a background? You can present from inside a coffee mug, or you can completely disappear into it, or you can come out of a coffee mug. So, no, my studio does not look like this. Full disclaimer, I am not a tech pro. I am a confidence expert. And when the pandemic hit, everybody started to repeat to themselves, oh my gosh, I'm so bad with technology. So, first thing I need to tell you is that no, you're not bad with technology, because you went from this to this to this to this to this, and all of a sudden there was no more keyboard, and yet you were still able to figure out how to find the picture of your dog that you took wearing a bikini. You always figure it out. So first thing, we need to get rid of all this limiting belief, and the second thing I'll do in my breakout room is show you how I use my slides as a background. I don't have a Steven Spielberg studio. I have a computer, I have earpods, couple lights, I use Zoom to record, and I use a green screen. I also have a full invisible set of furniture that's right over here, and I have another mouse right here that I can control for when I'm presenting in a standing position. So I'm super looking forward to seeing you in my breakout room. I'll teach you all of that, and I'll see you there.
So this
Fantastic.
video was the introduction at a convention that I was presenting. So that was not a tip of the day. I forgot that I had provided you this video. So that was to introduce a 30-minute training that I was doing at the CAPS convention, actually.
Yeah, that was a great convention, and great job with your presentation there as well. So that's cool.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
let's get into the kids thing a little bit. Tell us a bit more about that project there and how it's playing out.
So what we created with Captain Vic, and I think I've provided you images of the four main characters. So there's Captain Vic and there's Captain Miserable. So Captain Vic is sometimes a boy, sometimes a girl. So depending on the story. So the program consists of 23 animations, so 23 cartoons that the children will watch. So initially the program is created for teachers. So the program was created for teachers, and they would it's about 12 to 15 weeks program where they would show the 23 animation, 1 or 2 animations per week. And there's Captain Vic. Sometimes in the story it's a boy, and sometimes in the story, if you flick to the next image, is a girl. So that the children can identify themselves as the main character. And you would always see first the adventures of Captain Miserable. So Captain Miserable, and you have a picture of him too, and her, would, let's say, drive their boat and arrive at the island where they would find a treasure, but there were rocks beside the boat. So then the Captain Miserable would say, oh no, there's rocks. I hope I don't break my boat. Oh my gosh. So I think I don't want to hit the rocks with my boat. So then the parrot would go, ha, hit the rocks, ha, hit the rocks. And then Captain Miserable would hit the rock, because the personal assistant, that concept of personal assistant. And then you would see Captain Vic going through the same story. So then you watch the second story, and in that story, you would see Captain Vic arriving at the same island with rocks, and that would say, oh no, there's rocks surrounding the boat. And now we can see pictures of my husband. so the Captain Vic would arrive at the same situation and would say, oh no, there's rocks surrounding the islands. I need to steer away from the rocks. So then the parrot would repeat, away from the rocks, away from the rocks. So we are teaching kids through 5 different modules how to talk to their parrot so that they are in control of their own negative self-talk. So we teach self-esteem and perseverance. And since the program was created, we also created a parents version so that the parents can do the program at home with their children to teach self-esteem and perseverance, and how the little parrot in our head is always repeating what we say or think. So I think I've put the 30-second jingle which is the little song that plays at the beginning of each video. So if you want to, we could watch this. It's a kind of a cool little jingle. So I think it's 4E, the video, if you wanted to have a quick look. So it's going to give you an idea of the different characters, of the animations, how it's done, and it talks about the song that plays at the beginning of each animations as well.
My words sound like magic. My thoughts are fantastic. I build a wonderful life. Captain Vic is here to make it right. When I use the right words in my head, what I want is easy to understand. When I use the right words in my head, I am so awesome, 'cause I know I can.
Love it. Fantastic.
So that's the Captain Vic, my hero. I love Captain Vic. I have a crush on Captain Vic.
Now,
We have so many testimonials from parents and from teachers saying, "Oh my gosh, this completely changed my classroom. It completely changed my son's life. Now they don't want to be Captain Miserable, so then they do the sign, and there's a 3-step technique that they use to think and breathe and then find a solution. And there's so much more resourceful. It's so rewarding."
now, a little while ago, a few minutes ago, I thought you were referring to this as your Captain Vic right here.
That's my husband, the love of my life, the most wonderful, wonderful man in the world. So this is the day that I totally lucked out. That was our wedding day, and my husband and I had been seeing each other for a year as a long distance relationship while I lived in Quebec and he lived in BC. And then we moved together to Toronto, and eventually, so we spent about 7 or 8 years in Ontario, and now we've been here in BC for 10 years already, or even 11 years, I think we've been here in Vancouver. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, when we were covering the Captain Vic and all those things there, Michelle chimed in again. She said, absolutely love it. You're so energetic. You're awesome. And she's giving you a thumb up here with your other Captain Vic as well.
Thank you, Michelle.
So tell us a little bit more about BC. Is it going to be a long-term home for you, my friend? Are you enjoying our beautiful British Columbia?
Absolutely. So it's interesting coming from the east, where there's already lots and lots of snow there. And my parents have already inches and inches in their around their house. Here, see how it's nice and green. This is this weekend. So I just took this picture like 3 days ago. We were out on our walk, and look at how lush and green it is. Yeah. It is getting cold for us, because we're not used to cold weather. So it was about 2 degrees, and we all panicked, and we started to put our toques and big jackets on. But 2 degrees for a lot of Canadian is nothing. But it is what it is. I do love the temperature here. Although somebody said this week, Susanna Baum actually said, there is no bad weather. There's only bad clothing. So I totally agree with that. And it does rain in BC, so we take an umbrella, and it is what it is, right? Like life moves on, even if the weather is not to what we like. We can just dress differently. So we spend a lot of time outside. We love the long walks. We used to run, and we decided that long walks were just as fun, and we would have time to chat. So we do our best conversations in doing walks. My husband teaches fitness as well. So he teaches spin classes, and he teaches boot camp for seniors. And he also teaches a walking clinic as well. So lots of different techniques to walk faster and burn more calories and get more muscles as you walk. Yeah. And I teach the high intensity interval training. So I teach a class called Strong, and I also have still a foot in the dance world with Zumba. So I love teaching Zumba as well, which is super fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned the little quote there about no such thing as bad weather, or there's just bad clothing.
And clothing,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I think it's, I heard it from Michelle Cederberg as well. So Michelle Cederberg did that in one of her videos there, I think. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, so
So these are the kids. So my husband is right behind me at the top, and then there's Shane behind him. Shane is the oldest, and Shane is the father of Andrew, which is our grandson. He's going to turn 15 now. Chris is our middle son. And then there's Nikki, which is, so if you go right under Chris is Stacy with her dog. So Stacy holding Harley with the reindeer ears. And then so Nikki beside Chris is Stacy's girlfriend. And then Kelly, just on the right, the total left-hand side, is Shane's wife, the mother of our grandson as well. So this is our family last year at Christmas. This is going to be very different this year. Of course, we're not going to do the big pajama party, unfortunately. But that's the whole family there.
fantastic. That's coordinated pants there. Love it. Love it.
Coordinated pajamas. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. The top matches for the men's are
For the
in
boys, and then the girls have
I got
exactly.
you. I
Yes.
got you. Yeah, there's a pattern
Yes.
there.
Yes.
We have seen these folks before. These are your parents.
My
Wonderful.
parents. So I've put a lot of pictures of my family. I really will miss them. So every year we alternate. So last year we were here with the kids, with my husband's family. And then usually 1 year out of 2, we go to Quebec. So this is my brother and my sister-in-law, Stéphane and Jose. And we usually spend, so this year we were supposed to go to Quebec. So I had been pouting a little bit. So that's my brother again. He's super tall. And I was pouting because I was very disappointed that I would not get to spend Christmas with my family, because I haven't seen them almost 2 years now. My mom again at Christmas, that was 2 years ago, at their house. So I've put a few pictures of my family. They're very important to me. This is my niece. My niece is now, she's turning, oh my gosh, how old is she now? I think she's going to be turning 19 in 2021. So she's 18 now. So see the difference in 2011, 2014, and 2018. So I also have a nephew, Sean, which I realized I didn't put a picture. This is a picture of my cousins that we were running in the cornfield. So,
Wow.
yeah, so they were all living, we were all living in the same rural area in a small town outside of Quebec City. And this is on my mom's side, actually. So on my mom's side, she has 7 siblings. But on my dad's side, my dad has now 17 siblings. So there's even more cousins. So when we would get together, so if I had been there this year with no COVID, we would have a party of about 75 or 100 people, and another party of about 40 or 50 on my mom's side and my dad's side. So it's big family. These are just the cousins. I put pictures of my friends as well, because so this is Suki, my best friend here in BC. And I also put a picture of Sarah, my best friend in Toronto, because they're a huge part of my life. And I have to say that they're my pillars. They're the people that are there for me. Suki lives by herself, so she is allowed to be in one person's bubble. So she's in our bubble, and she was here the other day, and we cooked together. It's so nice to have somebody over, like to have. So and Sarah is in Ontario, so we have been long distance. We lived in the same building when I lived in Toronto, and now we've been staying really close for the past 10 years as I'm living in BC. We've stayed really, really connected. So she's my best friend. These are different pictures that I put on things that I like to do, hobbies, of course, fitness every day. That's one thing that I do. And if I don't have time to train, I do push-ups. That's one thing that I make sure I do 200 push-ups every day. It takes about 10 minutes, and now I feel like I've done my exercise. And if I have time, then I do some more exercise, and I would spend another 10 minutes, another 20 minutes, or another hour. But the push-ups is something that I've been doing every single day. Paddle boarding is my other thing that I can do in BC, and I might go on Christmas Day because the water is always warmer than the air. So if it's a day of 5 or 6 degrees, I can go paddle boarding all year here. So I might go paddle boarding on Christmas Day. That's one thing that I do. I live really close to the beach, so that's the one thing that we can do in BC is enjoy. That's why we're not in Vancouver. We're south of Vancouver in White Rock, so which is on the Pacific Ocean. Really close. So that's
a
a
big
picture
board.
of this summer.
That's a huge one.
It's a huge board. Yeah, absolutely.
Yellow
This one is
submarine,
a
huh?
racing board. I have two different boards. I have one that is more stable, wider, maybe a little shorter. It's more like a fun one. Or if I have friends coming with me, they take the stable one, and then I take the narrow, fast and fast racing board.
Nice.
Yeah, it is a big board, and we can only see half of it right now. This is another thing that I do. And unfortunately haven't been doing lately during the pandemic. I belong to Night Shift, an organization. We would go on Saturday nights and volunteer to serve food to street people who are not lucky to have homes. Things happen in people's life, and very often a simple conversation can really give them a lot of love and a lot of hope. So I started in the truck as I was serving the soup in the cup and passing it to somebody else, and the somebody else was giving it to, I was calling them because I was so scared at the beginning. And then I moved to the front part of the truck where I was serving the food. And then I moved to outside of the truck, walking through them and giving them coffee and hot chocolate. And now my new job, which I love, is I just walk around and chat with them and ask them what would they like, what do they dream of, or just remember times and tell me about their childhood, or things that they love, or have conversation, because I am trained to listen very well. And it's not to try to save them. It's just trying to give them comfort. And now they are my street friend. I look forward to see them. Been doing this for 4 years, so week after week we recognize there's families that come as well. There's some people that don't live in the street but cannot afford to serve food, so they come with their children every night, and because this is a 24 hours, not 24 hour, but 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And there's also a clothing truck. I like to work in the clothing truck as well, they are allowed to ask for one item every day. So they can have a new jacket or a new pair of pants when they need, or they can have a little shampoo or a little toothpaste or whatever, or a blanket, or it's been cold lately and wet, so they need change. They can't just do laundry, or shoes, or socks, gloves and everything. So that's one thing that I like to do. And the picture that I was showing was a table that we had set up to do a spa. So sometimes during the summer, Darcy, my friend who initiated me to Night Shift, we are doing an actual spa night where we would clean their hands, and then we would do a hand massage, because the connection is something that they really miss when you live in the street. Like, you don't have contact with people. So just to have somebody hold your hand and massage your hand. And we would also put nail polish for the girl, and they love that, just to have beautiful nails and have like a little spa day. Of course, we're not doing any of this during the pandemic. We're kind of on hold, but I'm looking forward to see my street friends again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, and this is the holiday survival guide. That's why that we talked earlier, the Merry Christmas. So one video for each day of Merry Christmas, one tip for the 14 days of Christmas. So you can have access to it at thinkyourself.com/tips. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, and these are my Santa Claus. That's my collection of Santa Claus at home. My husband and I buy one every year. We've been
Nice.
married for 18 years. We've got 18 Santa Claus.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. And this is my second family. The other kids that we have, the little boy that's on my lap, his name is Yuri, and Yuri's mom disappeared. Left him at the orphanage because she knew that at the orphanage Yuri would get a meal every day. And I had a very special bond with Yuri because when we got there, there's 84 kids at the orphanage. There's 600 kids in the school, right? And 84 at the orphanage. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I don't know them. I don't know the specifics about any of them. And I thought, as an icebreaker, I had brought a whole bunch of cards, white blank paper, and crayons, so that we would color together. And they all came around the big table that we have outside, and then started coloring. And then there's Yuri that's sitting in the corner, not saying anything. And I went to him and I said, hey, do you want to color with me? So he opened his arms and he grabbed me like a monkey attached to me. And the whole next hour we're coloring, and Yuri's completely glued to me and attached to me. And everybody's talking about this, but I'm not sure what they're saying because they're not speaking. I speak French, but they were not speaking French. They're speaking in their own language. And I'm wondering what's going on. Everybody's talking about Yuri. And then the school teachers start to come out, and then they start pointing at Yuri. And I'm like, what is going on? What's happening with Yuri? And then they share with me later on that Yuri had been there for 3 months and he had not talked yet to anybody. He had not interacted with anybody. He had been sitting on the side by himself for the longest time and had not interacted with no one. And that was his first connection. So we got a special bond. And eventually, throughout the time that we were there, we took them to the beach one day, and my husband Duff taught Yuri how to splash me with water. And Yuri actually laughed really, really loud, and really we had a good connection. So Yuri is now my sponsor child. And every month, I make sure that he has food, a toothbrush, clothes to go to school, and also sometimes an extra protein, so maybe chicken or hard-boiled egg. And this is $30 per month. It's nothing. Since I've been back from Haiti, I've been calculating everything in children. So let's say that I see a pair of shoes that is $90. That means it's 3 child. It's very fascinating how gratitude starts to come in, and how we start evaluating life very differently when we see and when we get attached to amazing children and to amazing human beings that are happy all the time. If we have a minute, there's one story that really, really transformed me, and it's one night we were sitting in the backyard, and I was teaching them the circle of excellence. You know what I do for a living, right? So I was teaching them, you draw a circle of excellence on the floor, you step into it, you power pose, and you start to feel better. Mm-hmm. So Angelina, which I have in the next picture. So Angelina, so that's not the one, the next one. So Angelina comes to me, and then she says, when are we going in the circle again? So I said, well, when you're not feeling good, when you're not happy, that's when you step into the circle. So she thinks about it. And then she says, yeah, but aren't we happy all the time? So I don't know what to say. I'm just about to cry. And I'm like, don't worry about it, Angelina. You guys, you don't need this technique here. It's true. You guys are always happy. This technique is just for us in Canada, when we're not happy. Yeah, I said that. I'm not really proud of that moment. But so Jouvencely, one of the twin brothers, comes to me and he grabs my hand and he goes, oh, you're not happy in Canada? Well, you have everything in Canada. So by that time, I'm bawling. So they all come to me and give me a big hug to console me, because poor me, I am not happy in Canada. So if these little human beings that have everything can be happy all the time, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be fine. So that was a huge lesson for me, and it completely transformed me and everything that I do. And I try to carry that with me, in my business, in my personal life, and just in my heart as my source of joy all the time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing these really powerful stories. And, again, the community that we plug in has a huge influence over our perspectives and our thinking and our gratefulness and everything, right? So folks out there, if you are wanting to create a new reality, a new life for yourself, one of the things you can consider is plugging to communities that would be conducive to that vision that you have, right?
Absolutely. That's funny because Michelle noticed that the tags were on my husband's PJ. It's correct, because that night we were opening presents when we opened all the pajamas, and they were brand new. So we all opened our brand new PJs. We all put them on for the picture. So this is funny, Michelle. Good eye. She noticed how on my husband's on the family picture, my husband had tags on his pajamas. So good eye, Michelle. That's so funny.
Wow, that's really sharp eyes there. I did not notice that.
Yes, you should notice that on that picture. Yeah, she saw that the tags were on my husband's. Yes, see at the top here on his neck. Good eye, Michelle. That's awesome. Right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
you noticed it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Now,
That's great.
thank you so much for sharing these wonderful stories and photos and your experiences all over the world. But tell us a little bit more about mindset. In all of the work and research and your experience, what are some really powerful, top 1 or 2 or 3 things that people can take away from this conversation in terms of things that would help help their lives and help their mindset and help
So
their.
there's maybe one thing that I can teach you, because in order to change your internal self-talk, it needs to happen at an unconscious level. That's what I do. We need to reprogram the 6 layers of the brain and go through the whole system. However, there's something that I can give you right away today that you can use to start the process. So it's a 2-step technique. So the first step is, whenever you hear something in your head that is not serving you. So you hear yourself say, "Oh, I'm so stressed out." Wait, you don't want to place that order for your personal assistant to write it down, because you don't want to be more stressed out. You don't want your personal assistant to write stressed out on the list, right? So what you do is, first step, rephrase it in the past and you say, "I used to be stressed out." So step number 1, repeat it in the past with the "I used to" formula. "I used to be stressed out," or "I'm so bad with technology. I used to think that I was bad with technology." Okay. Then the second step is to do a progressive statement. So you say a progressive statement starts with "I am willing to learn," or "I'm in the process of." Okay. Because what happens is that when you say, and you might be familiar with affirmations, and we've probably all done affirmations, but affirmations don't work if you don't believe them. So when I work with the Think Yourself Thin program with people that are highly overweight, it's not going to work to make them stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am thin." Or the Think Yourself Wealthy program with clients that are highly in deep financial struggle, we can't just say, "Okay, put your hands on your hips and say, 'I am rich.'" Because your personal assistant is like, "No, we're not. She must be watching a vampire movie again. This is not real. This is not happening," right? So you have to talk so your personal assistant listens. So if you say, "I used to be stressed out," personal assistant's like, "Oh yeah, she's talking to me. Oh yeah, that's true. We used to be stressed out. Now, why are we talking about this in the past? Are we done with this?" So your personal assistant needs something to write on their clipboard. So you're going to say, "I used to be stressed out. Now I'm willing to learn how to build a balanced life. I'm in the process of creating a calm life for myself." So your personal assistant is going to be like, "Okay, we're not stressed out anymore. We're building a calm life. We're building a balanced life." So use the 2-step technique. If you hear yourself say, "I'm such a shopaholic. I used to think I was a shopaholic. Now I'm learning to manage my savings or to plan my spending, or I'm willing to learn how to become financially confident. So choose your orders that you want your personal assistant to write on the clipboard, and this is going to definitely transform your life.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. So now I do want to maybe just pull up a couple of the tip of the day short segment here. I have one here that has three very appealing, is it donuts? I think they are donuts, chocolate. Tell us about that before I roll this very short clip here, Nathalie.
So this tip of the day is specifically about when we think that something is our downfall. So that's the tip of the day, when we say, oh, chips are my downfall, because I used to believe that donuts were my downfall.
Is there anything in your life that you think have more power over you than your own willpower? It used to be the case for me with donuts. I thought that they could actually control my hand, and I was forced to eat them until I realized that I was just repeating this to myself. Donuts are my downfall. Donuts are my downfall. So obviously, I was programming myself to not be able to resist them. So change your mindset and start talking about this in the past. Donuts used to be my downfall, and now I've learned how to live without them.
Wonderful. Fantastic. I'm going to bring in another one. We're going to do a bit of a rapid fire here. Tell me about the day sipped, the tip of the day. Day sipped. Does that ring
So
a bell?
I find that there's lots of learning right now. We are in learning modes. We go to online convention, and we do a lot of summit, a lot of learning, and we take notes, and then we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to move my business to online, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and then we keep adding on onto our plate, and we sometimes don't take time to take a sip. So that's what this tip of the day is all about.
Wonderful. I'm going to bring it in here, and
Hey, it's Natalie with the Think Yourself Academy for the tip of the day. Do you like to learn new stuff? Do you like to go to webinars and courses and workshops and then learn the latest and the greatest and all the new stuff? So you fill your glass up with all this knowledge, all this stuff that you will explode your business with. You will have so many new tips and so many new stuff that you will have learned. Oh, your life is going to be amazing. And then after a while, your glass is just going overboard, and then it's not making any sense. There's no point pouring water in a glass that's already full. Stop learning for a bit. Take a sip and ask yourself, have I learned and have I implemented all the stuff that I've learned before I take on another course? That's the tip of the day. Cheers.
love it. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. We take so many notes, and then we go home, we take this notebook and we put it on the shelf, and it becomes shelf help. Which is right. Oh gosh.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to bring in the next one here and to share. I'm going to bring in the tip of the day, the day files. So, or flies, actually.
Yes. Or maybe I'll just let you just play it with no introduction.
You bet. Absolutely. Let me just go ahead and bring that in here. And let's see. We're going to bring in this thing here.
Hey, it's Natalie with the Think Yourself
I
Academy.
can't see the video yet.
You bet. It's going to happen here. Give me a second.
Perfect. This is so cool how you do this.
Hey, it's Natalie with the Think Yourself Academy for the tip of the day. You've probably heard of the study where they would make flies prisoners inside of a jar with a lid on. The flies would hit the lid so many times and then would start to fly low. And whenever you would open the lid and remove it, the flies would still fly low and would not come out of the jar because they were getting used to it and they would not even try anymore. So is your lid open? And are you just not trying anymore because you've hit a wall so many times that you're not even trying anymore? So have a look up. Maybe it's your chance. Maybe your lid is open. So get out of there and go do whatever it is that your dream is.
Love it. Fantastic.
So these are just examples of the tips of the day. So I usually post them 2 or 3 times a week. Right now, during the 14 days of Christmas, we have 1 tip every day. So it's a bit different, but usually I have like 2 or 3 tips during the week on social.
Mm-hmm. I want to play another one here.
My mom used to tell me, you can't put your hands in a bucket of glue without some of that glue sticking. I think she was saying that so that I would stay away from the bad guys at school. But at the end of the day, I got the message. And I've been reading biography of successful people. And I have to say that it inspires me, it motivates me. It makes me see the world with different eyes, as if I had a mastermind group to give me advice on what worked for them. So people that have been successful, if we listen to their story and if we pay attention to their advice, more likely we have more chances to be successful ourselves.
Wonderful. Now, did you see those comments that Michelle chimed in? She said she really liked the water one. That was where the water was just overflowing. You took a sip. And she also chimed in again. Michelle said, "Dang, you're the queen of metaphors." Thanks, Michelle.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have my how do you call it? My crown of queen of metaphor, wearing it proudly.
That's your next investment. We're gonna look for a crown during COVID time here from Amazon or somewhere. Order a crown and
Yes.
yeah. Now,
awesome.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a few more questions, and then we're going to head towards wrapping up here, my friend. But the first thing I wanted to do is to say, were there topics that you wanted to chat about that we haven't gotten to yet, Nathalie? Thank you for sharing all the information and inspiration and wisdom with us. Are there topics that you want to go to next, my friend?
There might be one thing that I really would like to mention, and it is the dedication and the spirit of sharing and giving that Dune has allowed us during the pandemic. So when he mentioned I'm 148, it's every day, every business day, Dune has been hosting these interviews, and you've noticed how a master of this is so cool, like how he's doing all of this. You should see his office. He's got like monitors and consoles and switchers and things that I don't even know what they do. And I would like to take a moment to thank you for holding us connected, because these conversations with Dunes are so amazing. They're so fun. They're so light. It's about you're creating a platform for us. You're creating a platform, and honestly, it was not comfortable when Dune contacted me, because he said, "No, it's not about your topic. I don't want you to talk about tech tips. I don't want you to give us the tips on how to transform social media fans into paying clients. I don't want you to talk about how to do how you do your business. I want to talk about you." And I said, "Me? Who wants to hear about me?" And then he said, "Well, I want to put you on, give you this platform to show who you are and your family and your friends and what you do and what's your hobbies." And it's such a, I feel like Julia Roberts or something on a show, or on Jimmy Kimmel, like it's so cool that you've creating this platform. So thank you so much, Dune, for for doing this 148 times. And I know that you are still going, and you still have a lot of people lined up. So thank you for making me feel like a princess, like I'm a rich and famous or something, and I'm just me. I'm a small town girl. So thank you so much for giving us this platform and this opportunity. You're amazing.
Well, you're a fantastic human being and a wonderful professional and just a very successful person in both life and business. And so I thought, when I reach out to people, I say, yeah, certainly share some of the content, share some of the wisdom and insight, but we want to learn a little bit about you as well. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing a bit of you as well. And I wanted to do this. Now, Michelle agreed. She mentioned my guitar playing as well.
That's how I met Dune, actually, 4 years ago at the CAPS convention. He was rocking on the stage, and I'm like, who is that guy? Oh my gosh. He looks so timid and just, very introvert, borderline, and now he's this beast on stage rocking, and I'm like, wow, this is so awesome. So yes, Dune is an amazing guitar player.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, folks. So Nathalie, as we round the corner on our time here, I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. And now, while I do that, just for fun, I'm going to let this photo deck here fly by. And as it flies by, if you want to touch on or review anything at all or spotlight something, feel free to chime in. But so it's just sort of in the background there. But the question I have for you is, what are your thoughts on the pandemic? How has it affected you? How has it affected others that you know? And what would be your advice for navigating through this pandemic here, my friend?
I believe that the pandemic has taught us to be uncomfortable. It has taught us to get out of our comfort zone and step into something different. I believe that the pandemic has changed us, and I am really, really hoping that things don't go back to normal, because I think that our normal might not have been the best thing for our society, for our planet. I think that the pandemic has allowed us to be home, to not buy so much stuff, to really find ways to connect with our closed ones, even if, of course, I want things to go back to normal, but I want to create a new normal. And my husband and I had serious conversation about even all our friends and everybody that we know. We are now looking to. It's like. And I'm saying it lightly, of course, but it's like we want to re-audition everything in our life. Everybody that we were hanging out with, was it by default or was it by choice? All the activities we used to do, all the things we used to purchase or to have as a monthly reoccurring bill, or everything that we were doing, we're really re-auditioning everything and re-questioning as we are building our new normal. And I recommend that you do the same. Is let's not just rush back into our old ways of living. Let's question ourselves and allow ourselves to be uncomfortable and to be new at something again, and to really decide, is this how I want my life to be? Is this really what I want for myself, what I want for my family? Is this the best way? And what do you want now with your life? So that's kind of my advice, is question your new normal and create it, because we can create whatever we want with our own entourage and our own story. So we can be whomever we want to be. And sometimes it's personal. It's questioning, how was I as a person? What are the characteristics about myself that I want to let go of? So it's not just re-auditioning people around you. It's re-auditioning parts of yourself that you might want to let go as well. And these dreams of, oh, I wish I was like that. Well, you can be like that. We can be whatever we want to be. So try to look at every part of yourself and of your life, and reaudition everything and say, okay, what do I want really now? And let's create a 2021 like we want it.
Wonderful. And Michelle chimed in again. She said, yes, well said. And we need a new direction, a bit drastic this way, but maybe that's what the Earthlings needed, a hard kick in the, and then a few other symbols.
Well said, Michelle. Absolutely. A kick in the chagidua.
Yeah. Well, we have a few different languages among us between you and actually my second language was French, and then my third language is English. Yeah.
Oh, really? My third language is English as well. My second language is Spanish, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not that good with French, but I did spend a whole bunch of time with French in the early years. But yeah,
C'est vrai.
you don't
Okay.
use it, you lose it, kind of thing, right? I think.
Exactly. We need to continue to be good at learning. So
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
continue to learn. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Well, thank you so much, Dune, for inviting me. It was an honor. It's such a great, gosh, almost 2 hours.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure hearing from you, and I want to also thank Audrey and Michelle and others who have been watching and chiming in and interacting with us. Thank you, folks, for doing that. And now I'm going to get you to do another wrap up in just a moment here. I'll give you the stage and just take us out. If you sing, feel free to sing for us at the end here. If you recite poems, feel free to do that. If you want to summarize, if you want to take a new direction, I'll give you the time for that in just a moment here. But again, Nathalie, thank you so much for spending your time with us today and sharing of yourself and your journey and your wisdom and your story. And folks out there, take good care of yourself. Take good care of one another. And till we meet again next episode here, please enjoy the rest of your day. Now, Nathalie, you've been listening to Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas, everybody. And so she's going to take us out. So it's all yours, my friend. And hang in the green room after we're done. Hang in there for just a minute afterwards. But it is yours, my friend. Take us home.
Thank you so much, Dune. It was an absolute honor to be on your show. Conversations with Dunes, as I mentioned earlier, did take us through the pandemic. I've watched many of them. It's a great platform, and thank you to people that were with us today. So thank you to Michelle, thank you to Audrey, thank you to Greg. It was very refreshing to have you chime in as well. So maybe one last word is you are awesome, and whatever your dream is, that dream that you have on the back burner that keeps creeping back is going to keep creeping back. It doesn't matter how many times we push it away and we say, oh, I don't have time for this, I have responsibilities, I have to take care of my kids, I have to take care of my family, I have to take care of my parents, I have to take care of everybody else but me, and we forget our own dreams. And that big dream that you have on the back burner, that's your purpose. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's your passion. And even though it's very noble to take care of everybody else before ourselves, you can't be there for your kids, for your parents, for your spouse, for your clients if you don't take care of yourself first. So self-care and self-actualization is very important. So go for it. Go grab that dream, because it will keep creeping back, because there is no way that your purpose is going away. And one tip that I can give you to let you know if your purpose has been achieved yet: if you're breathing, it hasn't. So if you're still breathing, your purpose has not finished. You have not finished achieving it yet. So keep going, keep at it, and keep living from your passion. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Dune, for putting all this magnificent show together. And thanks to our viewers for being there with us. And happy holidays to everyone.
Wonderful. Again, thank you so much, Nathalie, and thank you so much, everyone, and happy holidays.